Hot 97, Ebro in the morning, Throwback Thursday. Laura Styles for the ladies introduce the legend.
The legend MC Lyte is hanging out with us today.
Yay! Now, we got a lot of ground to cover.
Yes.
You have something that's very special that came out for one day, 24 hours on Record Store Day. Laura Styles, MC Lyte, tell us what it is. What do you got there?
It is the album Legend. Worked on it for about a year and some change, off and on. Yeah, I started really strong, then I had to stop because we had touring and I was just traveling. And then finally the team was just like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to set aside October, November, December, something like that. And then we just kept pushing through till it was done. Got some great folks with me, people that I respect.
Can we go through some of them,
Go,
Ebro?
run the
Let's
names.
see. We have Mario.
Yeah.
We have Little Mama and AV. We got Common, 10 Beats, Faith Evans, and Coco.
From SWV.
Oh my God,
Yes.
so good. It was Stacey Rain,
Yeah.
Kenny Lattimore.
Yeah.
So ill.
Yeah, and those are, those people are friends of mine. So it was easy to make happen.
To get it done, right?
Yeah.
Lil Mama, young female MC, started young, had the hit, and then she was in the TLC movie. She's done some acting. How did that relationship come about?
Oh goodness, you know what? So many people had talked to me about her.
Really?
Mark Pitts from Jive. He was like, "Oh man, there's this little girl. She reminds me so much of you. She's from Brooklyn." Blah blah blah. And then also Laretha Jones at the time was at Paramount. And, she's a bigwig at Paramount, and she's talking to me about Lil Mama. And this was before we met. And then I think we met at Soul Train Awards maybe like 3 years ago. And ever since then, I was like, this is my little sister.
Nice.
She's a good girl.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Yeah.
And you released this for 24 hours, only on vinyl. Why did you decide to do that?
We need to do something different. As an independent record label, we really want to give the music away for free. We only pressed up a certain amount of copies, so it's really not about selling them. This right here is a collector's item, no doubts. It has to get paid for, some way. But it will be available digitally soon.
Well, let's go back to your first statement. You said independent record label. What's the name of the record label?
Sunny Girl.
Sunny Girl. And this is your
label.
Or label.
Yeah,
and how long has this been
company.
around?
It's been in existence since 1997.
Really?
But it's not until I got my new COO, who's been on for about 3 years, that we've really started to expand what it is that we do in terms of production, in terms of management, and just an overall entertainment company.
So, let's go. I'm gonna try to cover like early MC Lyte days.
Yeah.
Your brothers, right?
I'm
your
with
family.
you. I could be long-winded too. So
no, that's
if I
fine.
get too long, just
I just want to make sure
Snap.
because we're at a moment right now in hip hop where there's a resurgence of the female MC, right? Some are going at it. Some you have the Azalea Banks and Iggy Azaleas, but you have the Nicki Minaj's who had her things. And I just want to get from MC Lyte at some point in this conversation your perspective, because you came along at a time where there were some female MCs beefing too.
I was one of them.
You was one of them, right? So I want to just talk about that, because a lot of times people forget that the competitive nature of hip hop kind of breeds some of that friction.
Yeah.
And then there's a way to go about doing it so it doesn't get too crazy and too nasty.
Yeah, I think for me, it's actually fueled by men, really.
Well,
the fight that exists between women is because men say that it can't be more than one.
Right.
Nikki spoke to that.
You got to be the only one doing it. Well,
That's right.
I experienced that coming up. Like, my beef with Antoinette started with Antoinette dissing Audio 2. And so Audio 2 looked at me like, we can't diss her. You got to do it. And so,
and for the people who don't know, Audio 2 are your
brothers. Yeah.
Older brothers.
we grew up in that sense, in family.
Got
they
it.
were, I started when I was 16. So their dad became my dad and they became my brothers, and they were my family.
And for the audience that haven't done the research, that's the top billing record. They did top billing, and it still gets sampled today, and they still get paid from it
That's
today,
right.
as they should.
They should do.
So you went at Antoinette because they were like, listen, girls against girls.
Yeah, they didn't feel right dissing her. And you know what? It's so political because they went to Herbie Lovebug, which, by the way, audience, comeback records are planned, right? A lot of them are strategically planned out. So they had a song called Top Billin', and they wanted Herbie Lovebug to do an answer called Stop Illin'. And so for one reason or another, the song never happened. And then all of a sudden, we're coming down from a trip from Boston to New York, and we hear her on the radio, and she has a line in her song where she says, something about your bodyguard ain't nothing or whatever. And that was one of Milk's lines in Top Billin'. It was my bodyguard.
Right.
So
Got a great big bodyguard,
right.
So step up if you want to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And they took Impeach pretty
Impeach
much
the
the same. Yeah, Impeach the President. I'm sorry, I'm talking like people know. Impeach the President, which is a sample.
That's right.
And they used it in a different way. So Audio 2 felt like Herbie was coming at them, but not the way that they had planned. And with a woman, with a female on the mic. So, yeah, I got elected to be the front person for that war. And then it just kept going.
Now, and you said, women, you said men obviously pit the women against each other because, like, you got to be the only one. But also men pit each other against each other.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. I just think it's that, that competitive nature, that testosterone that just says, make room for no one else.
And that's a very hip-hop thing.
Own the space.
Yeah.
All of it.
Now, you went on, obviously, after that. Did you ever feel when you Lyte as a Rock came out, did you feel like you were competing against men in hip-hop, or did you feel like as a woman you was on your own thing at that?
Yeah, I felt like I was on my own. I didn't really feel like I was in competition with them. And it wasn't until, later on come tour time, who wants to perform at this time in this space, and promoters not wanting to pay the same thing that they're paying the guy that has either the same records or top 10 hits that you do, or even less, but they don't want to pay you what you deserve. So it was hard for me to understand until all of that began to happen. I learned real quick.
And you were just, as a female MC, a lot of people, you was just going at it. You felt like you needed to throw out some bars that whoever wanted to catch it could get it.
Okay.
But
with Paper Thin, I don't really feel like
what
I
you
was...
say to me is just paper thin. It was talk about flimsy talk. People talking flimsy.
Yeah,
talking
flimsy.
Did you always felt like you had to prove yourself just a little harder with all the guys around you?
No,
Never?
I just felt like I was me. Yeah, it didn't feel like that at all. And for the most part, the guys, they took to me, like their little sister. For a couple of them. In a different way.
Someone was trying to holler though.
Yeah,
Of course, you was a good looking girl. Right. Yo, Lyte, you still look good.
Well, thank you.
Still look very good.
I appreciate that.
So then now, Cha 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 and Lyte. Paper Thin wasn't on Lyte as a Rock though. What was Paper Thin on?
Paper Thin was on Lyte as a Rock.
It was on Lyte as a Rock, and then Cha 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 was the next single.
Right. Cha 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 was on a different album.
What was Cha Cha Cha?
Eyes on This.
Eyes on This. I'm getting it mixed up.
Yeah.
And then Cha 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 was one of the records that actually took you on to a national scale. Yeah. And I think at that time what was that, the Video Music Box or something like that?
Channel 31.
Yeah.
Ralph McDaniels.
Yeah. And that was really started moving.
Yeah.
And Ralph was really getting the videos on, and those visuals really started to play on a national level. MC Lyte at that time, and you're still touring to this day. What was the money like for a female MC at that time?
I think, well, the first show that I ever did, I got $75.
Wow.
And where was this?
This was in Brooklyn at the Village something or another, I think.
And who else was on the bill? I'm just curious.
I don't
you
even,
remember?
it probably was Audio too.
Okay.
Because a lot of times during those days, they wasn't really checking for MC Lyte. So Audio 2 was who they wanted. And then
why weren't they checking
and
for
my manager was like, well, if you want Audio 2, you got to take MC Lyte. Because I hadn't been proven. They had a song called Top Billin'.
Right.
Yeah, she's new
right.
too.
So they could get in any door, get on any stage. And so they made it possible for me.
Do you follow any of the new female MCs now?
Yeah. I mean, I can't help but hear Nikki. She's everywhere. This new one. Jeez. What is that?
Yeah.
Oof, that's crazy.
Yeah. Have you now? Do you? There's Nikki.
We have Azalea Banks.
Azalea Banks. Are you familiar with any of her?
Yeah. She's nice with it.
Yeah.
They all. I mean, all of the ones are deserving of being known.
What about Iggy Azalea?
Yeah, I mean, I think Iggy's style is different. I also, people want to get on her because of wherever she's from.
She's from Australia, yeah.
Right. No, I know that, but I mean, wherever she's from really doesn't matter. She has a love of the craft, of the art. And the reason why I can say it, and mean it is because one of the first tours I ever did was in Denmark, Copenhagen, and everybody in the audience looked just like her.
Right.
And prior to even going there were places here that we partied at. Payday, $1 Million Bar, The World. And it was no, you are this and I am that. It was everybody as one. Hip hop is universal, no color lines.
How do you feel like that got lost in hip hop? Because, around the country, outside of New York, you go to a lot of hip hop shows, it's a predominantly white audience. Mm-hmm. White audiences have gravitated to hip hop and bought it and all it, but now somehow it gets misconstrued that it's specifically only for blacks. Or only for black artists. You know what I mean? Do you think that's why Iggy Azalea catches heat? Or do you think it, like I have an opinion, I think that people just don't think she's that good.
Well,
and somebody like Eminem, right? He never caught flack because he's that good.
But also because, it's like the whole okay, so Iggy Azalea is from Australia, right? She has her Australian accent. All of a sudden when she raps, all of a sudden she's from Atlanta. It's the twang that people feel like it's fake. Like it's a character.
She's putting it on. Well, I mean, every time we see an English actor, they're putting it on to act like an American. We don't get on Idris when he has to act like a homeboy from Baltimore to make his job work. It's a job, But with Iggy, I think she catches a lot of heat because she's so damn confident. It's like there's no room because it's a catch-22. I mean, you want to be humble, but if you're too humble, they'll tear you up. Mm-hmm. So she's caught like she's in between a rock and a hard place, really.
Lyte, now, from Brooklyn, just quick review.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously came up around audio too. Who else was around MC Lyte at that time? Names we would know. That you came up under.
Daddy-O, Stetson Sonic.
Of course, yeah.
Big Daddy Kane,
So
Positive K.
A lot of Brooklyn.
Yeah, Positive K. Of course, who brought you I'm Not Having It.
That's right.
It was about First Priority Music Alliance. It was about the groups, MC Peaches. It was about all of the groups that were signed to First Priority Music. So we spent a lot of time there.
And even at that time, right now you have your own independent label, and you're still very active with that. But even at that, is that where you learned the independent grind? Because that was an independent grind for y'all at that time.
It really was. I mean, we licked our own envelopes. We were on phones talking to fans. It was really about serving the music to hip hop fans. And having that connection, and I think with the internet now, it's like
it's back to that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. When I hear artists, it's hard. I'm like, you don't even understand. You don't have a middleman. You can get straight to that fan.
And back then, you guys had the postage, lick stamps.
Can I tell you, we would give
Street
money
teams.
and a record to some guy, and he would just disappear in the night, and we could only hope that he got it to where he said he was going to.
That was
so
it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I remember just like what were they called? Snipers, the people who used to put
street teams.
the street teams that used to like flood the streets with all that. All the album promo. That's how I would find out about new records, new songs.
Yeah, you would see the poster in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was no email, there was no Twitter, none of that.
No Instagram, none of that.
And you were
stuff.
just hungry for it. I think for the most part, and I could be wrong, but it seems like this younger generation is hungry for something that they can really connect to.
They want authenticity. I think the 90s and the way the music industry, and this is all, I think all genres of music, it's not specific to hip hop, spoiled everyone. There was a lot of money being made, right? It was a lot of money being given to artists for a single deal. The coffee's good. MC Lyte's got an amazing cup of coffee, courtesy of Ebro in the morning. So I think people got spoiled. And then the 2000s were the technology transition, right? You coming off that tech bubble of the late 90s, labels went and became publicly traded, and they were losing all types of money, and music wasn't selling because people were downloading. I think as of like 2010, 2011, and where we are today, people have kind of figured out the new way to operate independently and operate a business, right? But there was a time in the 90s where people are very spoiled. They just wanted to show up to a record label, Here's my album. Give me a check. I'm done. I go out on tour and I'm done. And that's not the way hip hop started. That's not the way it was for you in the 80s. So and you know, people talk about the golden era, right? The 90s, right? But it was lots of money. It was also not watered down. The music, everybody couldn't become a hip hop artist. Like when you was coming up, you had to be able to get to a studio. You had to be able to record. Somebody had to take interest in you.
You had to have your own name.
Talk about it.
I just heard somebody the other day say his name was Heavy something. I'm like, you cannot have Heavy anything. There's one Heavy.
Right.
And, you know, allow him to rest in peace. But it just seems so odd that anyone would even want to carry that name. It's like, be original. Get a new name. I hear little lights here and there. You know, it's just so funny to me. It's like, wait, it's only one.
But it's just a different mind state. Because even, remember we were just talking about the other day, something so small. Like we were talking to one of our interns. He was wearing a pair of Adidas track pants and like a pair of Nikes, right? I remember when it was like, what? You can
you can mix.
that?
You can totally mix now.
I remember, back in the day, we were like, what are you? You're violating
Yo,
right
in
now.
the 80s, I dare you to wear some Adidas sweatpants and Nike shoes.
That would be a problem.
It's just, I don't know, maybe the rules are different now because now kids don't, they're like, what do you mean? Why
They
can't
don't
I
like
have the
they
name?
don't like those rules, and really those rules are kind of silly, you know.
They
and,
were.
right, and it only works for the manufacturer that, you know, we're insistent upon wearing their design from head to toe. It's kind of silly.
I think also too. I think we're in a time where you see the young hip hop fan trying to redefine what hip hop means to them, right? So I think, you know, some of it, like we would look at it and be like, oh, you biting this guy's name, right? Or there's a little like, I mean, biting was the number one hip hop violation. Like it was not tolerated.
Yeah.
These days, people bite people's flows,
Lyrics,
words,
yeah.
everything,
Everything.
rhyme patterns,
It's pretty amazing.
music, everything.
Yeah.
You wanna do, Laura?
So I Want to Be Down remix was one of my favorite remixes ever. I remember, you know, I went to high school with Brandy.
I didn't know.
Oh.
I went to high school with Brandy, so I remember when that came out. But can you talk about your relationship with like Queen Latifah and Yo-Yo, and like when you first met, how accepting were you of each other, and just the process through like recording that remix?
Well, we knew each other prior to the remix. Yo-Yo and I were actually on the same label. But of course, I met Latifah back in feels so funny to say, like 87. We were at the New Music Seminar. And I was standing in line about to get registered, and she tapped me on my back and she said, "Are you the one that sings I Cram to Understand You?" And I was like, yeah. She was like, "I'm Queen Latifah." And I had already heard her name because I kind of traveled with Pasta News and the guys. And the whole Native Tongues, hanging out with Tribe and all of them. And so they had played me her song, The Princess of the Posse. And I was just like, whoa, this is heavy. This is it. So when we met, we clicked. And then I think we had, it was a bunch of other female MCs around at that time also. Matter of fact, there's a picture that's on the internet of all of us at the New Music Seminar, and I think it's like
Was Moni Love
Jazzy
there?
Joyce and Moni Love and Mishi Me from Canada. It was quite a few of us. It's a monumental moment right there.
Were you guys, and what was it? Was it a competitive relationship or an uplifting relationship?
No, it was definitely uplifting. Yeah, it was definitely uplifting. So when it came time to do the song, the A&R folks, and Brandy was on the same label too. So all three of us were on the same label, Yo-Yo, Brandy, and myself. And then they went and got Latifah to participate. But none of us were in the studio at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So this is when the way of recording songs was very different. I think maybe La might have done hers out on the West Coast. I did mine here. I'm sure Yo-Yo probably was on the West Coast too, but we all did it separately. I laid mine first. And I said, I want to go at it first.
And that was just the BET Awards where you guys rocked it again. Had you guys performed it together?
But 20 years ago, I think for they used to have Lady of Soul Train Awards.
Wow.
Yeah, they even got rid of that. Look at that. We need a boost.
What you feel like the ladies need a boost?
Yeah.
Well, now we have Beverly Bond with her Black Girls Rock.
Yeah,
It's so
incredible
dope.
show. She
So
came out
good.
last night too to Tony Touches, but yeah, the show was phenomenal this year. Black Girls Rock. Just to see, it was a very intimate setting, but a lot of young girls in the audience that could sort of get that intimate setting
I
with
can't
the
even get a ticket
president's
anymore.
wife, Michelle Obama. You couldn't get
I
tickets.
can't get tickets anymore. I used to go when Beverly Bond first started it. We all used to go.
Uh-huh.
3 years into it exploded. Now BET's involved. It's on television.
Yo,
I
Michelle
can't even get a ticket.
Obama was there.
But
okay?
wait, how
That was
about
crazy.
I was the first one to ever get a Black Girls Rock award,
Wow.
and this was my first show.
Really?
So I'm there
You
with
with
you.
me?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It usually falls on my birthday, and I'm usually somewhere else on my birthday. And so they changed the date this year, and it worked out perfectly.
This collector piece of vinyl was out for what is known as Record Day. You put it out
Record Store Day.
Record Store Day. You put it out specifically for that. There's a resurgence.
Vinyl.
For vinyl, 45s. Rosenberg collects 45s. I bet he wish he was here, but he's handling some family stuff.
Okay.
So
What up, Rosenberg?
you're not able to get this if you didn't get it on Record Store Day, or unless somebody puts it on eBay and you go ahead and bid for it and buy it.
Because it was only out for 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a limited amount pressed up. So we have a few. The stores had a few. So what we have is all we have, and once it's out, it's out.
And why did you do this?
Just something different. You know, I grew up in record stores all across this nation, you know, mom and pops and one stops. And so to have that experience, I think for anyone who's into Record Store Day finds that it is like one of the most exciting times of the year, because you get to really connect with people while you buy music, and you talk to experts, and you talk about as opposed to just going to iTunes and seeing, okay, what's the top 10 songs,
Or looking at comments or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a different type of experience that allows people to connect with one another.
That's how I experienced music. Was going to the record store, calling the Tower Records or the Rasputin or the Amoeba or whatever, and saying, yo, what's in or what's coming in, so I could save up my little money, get to know the manager. Maybe he would tuck one away for me so it wouldn't sell out. You know, that's that whole skit. Do you feel like that's been lost because of obviously because of download that changed the world, but
yeah, I think it has been lost. I think maybe one of the newer MCs that's hot with a new fan base that's sort of like committed to this process of online music can have a party or a gathering at a record store, so they can show these kids the experience that they can have in a setting like that. I
do know that there are some limited vinyl releases happening. I think Action Bronson might have put one out, like some of the newer cats that have followers.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
I think I heard that. And I heard that Kanye wanted the Throne to be just vinyl. But
Really?
but the label wasn't too down with
And you're
that.
so passionate also about vinyl because you still out here DJing.
Yeah, well, I DJ from Serato. I've never DJ'd since the time that I've started DJing. It's always been Serato.
Oh, so you was never rocking vinyl. You was never carrying crates.
Well, a couple of no, I was not carrying a crate. A crate can carry me.
You
I am
didn't
too
help
light.
your brother carry a crate?
Oh, heck no.
You know
But
how-
I do
how heavy those
remember
things are? Look how small
spinning
she
in Brooklyn. I remember the guy that lived in our building had he had a whole setup. He was Jamaican though, so that's where I learned about Peter Tosh and all of the great Yellow Man, dating back to the 80s. Yeah.
MC Lyte, let's get into this record off the album. You wanted to play Check. Tell us about this.
Check is just one of those songs where I'm just speaking how I feel, for the most part.
And before we get into the song, how does Lyte feel? Is Lyte still out here coming at MCs next, or you're a little bit more passive these days?
No, I say what I feel in there. Yeah. I think about many things, and I some of my favorite MCs who wear their hearts on their sleeves and talk about real things that are affecting them, I tend to draw to because I'm just like that.
Who are some of your favorite MCs?
Kendrick, Drake, Kanye, J. Cole, Lupe, Common, of course, I love the Jay-Z's for the flows, but I like ASAP. Like
Rocky,
yeah, he brings it. 'Cause I could certainly get into the flow and the vernacular, but I also want to be spoken to.
Right.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you've heard some of Missy Elliott's new material.
Yeah.
Is that true? Yes.
I did, but I don't even think she's going to use that material. Pharrell is now working on her new project, so I don't know what she's going to do with the stuff that I heard, but it was hot.
Lyte, some people know, some people don't, that you are very vocal on behalf of not only music and hip hop, but also women and the upliftment of women.
Yeah, well, we have a foundation called Hip Hop Sisters, founded about maybe 3 years ago now. We're all about redefining the essence of young girls and young women through empowerment, inspiration, financial literacy, hip hop. We have a hip hop artistry side to it. But since its inception, we've given away 4 $100,000 scholarships.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing. And most recently at the Soul Train Awards, we gave away 3 $50,000 scholarships to men as part of our signature initiative, #EducateOurMen. And those 3 gentlemen will attend Dillard University.
Dope.
Come fall.
Right, let's focus right there. Educate our men.
Mm-hmm.
What's the issue?
Well, it's many things. First is, the attempt to get them to school so that they can get an education. And then it's culturally. And then it's also mentorship that's provided, putting them with who it is that they want to be or what it is that they see, exposing them to something new, something different that they can then set their heart and their mind and then focus and be determined to get to that particular goal. And then it's also, when I say culturally, I just mean, possibly showing them how you love a woman or how you speak to a woman or how it is that we're depending on you to protect us. I think I lightly touched on it in the BET Awards when I got the I Am Hip Hop Award. But in all sincerity, when I said, guys, stop cursing us out. Show us some love, and, many times over what you show will reflect, so you give love and you get love and you concentrate on that. And before you know it, the hate disperses. And even if it appears, you're able to get rid of it awfully quick.
We have lengthy discussions here about the relationships between men and women and how men are emotionally immature in some ways, and sometimes when our feelings are hurt or we feel disappointed in women, we lash out in ways and I think a lot of times that it's a vicious cycle. Men getting their feelings hurt and disappointed by
retaliation,
a woman, and then the woman get her feelings are hurt, and then so on and so forth, and now you're in this vicious cycle of F you nigga and F you bitch, and oh, you's a hoe, and now I don't want to be with you, and now blah 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 blah, and on and on and on. And I don't think we've ever really allowed men to be vulnerable in a way that they feel safe without feeling like women or other men even
will take advantage,
are going to make fun
them.
of them
Right.
and judge them. And so that kind of emotional immaturity plays itself out in not being a responsible man and not knowing how to speak to a woman and not being humble enough to uplift a woman in the right way, because we're so afraid to look weak. We're so afraid that she's going to think we suck and we're lame, so we overcompensate.
It's so funny because I'm thinking of 2 different, and I don't mean funny like ha-ha. I mean just
but
like ironic.
Funny,
right. So there's 2 things that come to mind. The first is, this is why, many... I would imagine it's the same thing for black men now dating white women or just outside of their culture in general. I think as black people, we tend to put a lot of pressure on our men to not look like this, look like that, stand, all of these parameters that we want them to live inside of. And so I think of how it is that black women may date outside of their race because a lot of those guys don't feel that way. It's like they weren't brought up with those extra pressures to pretend to be harder than you are or what you innately feel, if you're sensitive about an issue but you want to play like you're not. So then it reads through as anger, and that's not where you want to live. And then the other thing that it made me think of, I can't remember. Yeah.
You lost your train of thought.
So your
did.
foundation, so you give away these scholarships. How do you follow through? Is it through seminars? Is it through one-on-one
seminars.
mentorship?
Well, we do women, wealth, and relationship panels or forums, so to speak. And the byline is your man and your money, how to get them and how to keep them. Now, I actually don't have one, so I'm still learning. I go every day. I go whenever I can to be trained. But in any case, Lynn Richardson, who's here, who's the COO of Sunny Girl, but also the president of Hip Hop Sisters, is the COO of one of Russell Simmons' foundations, which is actually how we met. And she is a financial guru. They call her the Medea of money. So it's usually her forum. And we have a bunch of celebrities that come on the panel, and we just talk about what it is to be in relationships with money and relationships with men and how all of it works. And would you have joint bank accounts? And, would you want everything in both of your names? It's just a lot of
this is a good talk.
A lot of strategy.
Laura needs to come to this because Laura's having a problem where she can't find or won't accept or can find and gets rid of whatever it is.
Don't make me sound shallow. Please don't make me sound shallow.
It's
But I'm at a
shallow,
point in
man.
my life where I work really hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm single and I'm dating, but I have a problem if a guy that I'm dating is not working as hard as I am.
Yeah, that would be an issue.
So I don't know how to handle that. And some people are like, you're putting too much pressure on yourself.
Well,
like,
you just have to find a hard worker, right? Because if he's not working as hard as you, then you're working and he's moping around waiting for you to pay
can't
some
do that.
attention to him.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. Amazing. Just great. And
Maybe it's your job to help him find what his passion is.
Talk about it. Inspire a man for a change.
Men
want to be inspired,
But I've
ladies.
been there before. I've been that woman before that I was with somebody for years. And I was with him and he never really blossomed. Like he was
Okay, so
happy.
that was the wrong one, but all of the rest of them shouldn't pay for his shortcomings.
Talk about it.
God, who's gonna inspire me? What about
Right.
that to make me greater?
You know
I don't
what?
know.
You have to give it and then you'll get it. It's amazing what can inspire someone.
Men want to be inspired, ladies. And some of us are
And I
inspired
nurture
by,
my relationships. I work hard
Is
at them.
that
You
what
don't
you
you don't know me
Is
in a
that what you do?
relationship.
Neither
It's
does
just-
anyone else, apparently.
It's just, this is what I deal with all the time. This is what I deal with. No, but it's just something that because like I said, I work hard, and I just want somebody who's also gonna work hard, also who has the same ambition, the same drive. And sometimes I battle with myself, like, am I asking for too much? Am I setting myself up for something that's not
Excuse me.
real?
I don't think that. And I am not the expert by far, but I don't think that's too much to ask for, to find someone who is passionate about something as much as you are passionate about your work. I think it makes for a great match, so that when you're both in a setting when you're not working, you can really give one another the attention, but no one feels or looks overlooked when you're working.
Can we go somewhere else real quick while you guys talk about that? And I just like a yes and, right? I hear women hyper consumed all the time with the relationship. Who is he? When am I going to find him?
Where is
he? How can I find him? And to not a woman, as an outsider, I'm like, well, you're so consumed with it that it becomes like it festers and it becomes like an issue now. So if you are presented with an opportunity, the man can smell that you're so thirsty and needy that we're like, yo.
You done woke her up.
Preach. I be telling them, relax. I've been married 20 years. So
Oh, sorry. The woman in the back of the room just got up and got the spirit.
She
based
started,
on what I
right.
said.
Well, she is a minister.
Oh, that's what,
let the man come.
well, and so I think women don't know that we sense the neediness, and it scares us. Some of us.
Okay.
Some of us will be, you know.
Well, you know what, and then that's when it trickles down into the other part where a woman knows that, so then she's got to play hard to get, when really she's like,
but
you know
isn't there some
what?
gray hair? Just chill. Why can't we just chill?
Yeah, just
Why
be
can't
friends.
we just? No, we're not even. We can do more than be friends.
Okay.
But if we're gonna, and for some women that's hard. They need to know what it is. What are we?
Right.
They need to. What Are we? And I'm like, I thought we were just having fun.
Right.
We
this
just
sounds
met
like
a
a
couple
comedy
months
set
ago.
that I heard not too long ago.
I thought we were just going to dinner,
Right.
I thought we, and women, they get, because they don't want to get hurt, right? And I understand, but it's a delicate dance of not being too thirsty and not pushing a guy away because he smells that you're needy, as well as being secure enough to
That's
just
a lot
have a good
to
time.
think about, isn't it?
Well, don't think about it.
Right.
Just be.
Yeah.
Just have and that's my input. But that was a
Right.
yes and
Right.
because I know what Laura Styles go through. I hear it every day. And you're not in a current relationship.
No, I am not.
Have you ever been married?
No, I have not.
Did you ever want to be married?
Did I ever? I still do.
Really?
Yeah.
Family, children?
Children, it's okay if he comes with some.
You don't want any of your own?
I'm not gonna say I don't want, but it's not my primary goal. Let's get pregnant right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Because that, you put your profession and your work before that. Did you feel like you were sacrificing that at any point? Was there ever that
you know what?
crossroads?
Yeah, I think in my mid-20s, I was like, okay, I'm really ready to settle down and have kids and, hang up hip-hop. It just wasn't in the cards. It didn't pan out that way. And I'm a much different person. I'm way different than I was in my 20s now. So I'm glad I didn't. Now would be the time.
It's funny because I always felt like I had to be married or have children by a certain age. And now, the older I get, it's like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that too. But at first, I guess it's also a cultural thing because I had a lot of pressure from my family. Like, time's ticking.
Right.
Where's my
I
granddaughter? And now I'm like...
I do want someone to love.
Yeah.
I don't know that it has to be wrapped in marriage, even though that would be nice. And I guess many women hope for that. What I know is that I have a lot of love to give. And see, with women, we want to make sure that whoever we're putting this love into is not only worthy, but they're not just going to take it and,
right.
go off. So
Right.
I think that might be a little bit of what you're
that's absolutely what it is.
finding.
But it's like I said, it's a delicate dance.
Yeah.
And a lot of that trust comes over an extended period of time, not 60 days, not 6 months. Like you hear a lot of women say they want a family and they want to be married, but you start talking about 10 and 20 years. That's a different conversation. You might want to just chill and enjoy this person if you really think you're about to go on a lifetime journey with somebody.
Right.
I appreciate your time today.
Oh,
yes.
absolutely. This was fun.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Anything we left out? I really wanted to get into it with the hip hop and the rhyme talk with you, but it seems like you are up on your game, and it seems like you're happy with where hip hop is. Like you referenced some of the young people. Like
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think hip hop is to you what you need it to be. So if you're in search of something more, you can find it. If you're okay with what's on mainstream radio, then listen there. If you want something different, go there. Like it's all over the place. We're being exposed to new MCs and new music all the time on the internet. So I just think that the school that I come from, we looked for it. We had to look for our hip hop. It wasn't
and it
everywhere.
was only on Friday and Saturday night
For 2 hours.
For 2 hours.
Yeah.
I have that talk all the time. Like I'm like, I'm from an era where they wouldn't even play the rap versions of songs. Like they would literally make songs without the rap and play that version on. This is in New York City.
Yeah.
And now that kids get it 24 hours a day on the top 40 stations, it's in the commercials. They take it for granted that there was a time where they really had 1 or 2 shows on the weekends only, late night, that played hip hop.
Yeah. So
And that
because
was it.
of that, I know how to look for it.
Right.
Yeah. You just got to be hungry enough to look for it, which is why I can't say, I'm mad at hip hop. Yeah.
You don't feel that way.
No, it is what it is.
Do you feel like the female MCs feel is in need to be over sexualized? Nicki Minaj sometimes with her clothes off, you hear she gets a lot of flack. Like, well, Lyte and Latifah and Missy never had to get
that
naked.
must get pretty boring for her to keep hearing that.
Right.
Oh, you know, she's her own person. She does it the way that she wants to do it, and she does it well. And if it weren't working, she wouldn't sell the amount of records that she has. She wouldn't have as many fans coming out to see her. She is a specific female MC. What becomes disheartening is to not see the full spectrum of a black woman in hip hop. Like, she's our only representative at the level that she's at.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just think at that point, that's not her fault. That's our fault. Because if we hear someone that we like, we ought to lift them up. We ought to talk about them. DJs ought to play them. Somebody needs to
You
break them.
should spend some time with this girl Tink.
And also Rhapsody.
Rhapsody.
Tink, is this Timbaland's?
Yes.
Yeah.
that's
Okay, I
Timbaland's
haven't
girl.
heard her, but I've seen him promoting her
Yes.
on
Spend some time where she's
social
dope.
media. Okay.
She's very dope. And then the girl Rhapsody, who's out of North Carolina, signed a Ninth Wonder.
Ninth Wonder.
She's
Okay.
very dope as well.
I think I've met her.
Yeah, she's
with
on
Ninth
Kendrick's
Wonder.
album.
Okay.
She's on Complexion. The girl rhyming on Complexion on Kendrick's album.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
So definitely something. MC
you.
Lyte, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
Give it up.
yes. Thank you.
You can't buy this.
MCLyte.com.
Oh,
No, you cannot. You can only get that wherever I am.
The vinyl,
But
let's
when
be
they're
clear.
out, they're out. But you can go to MCLyte.com to find out how it is that you can get the record for free.
there you
cool.
go. Hot 97. Thank you, Lyte.
Thank you.
Yeah.